Chairman of the IIFC, Professor Dr. Muhammad Arif Said, dear participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 12th Foundation of Islamic Finance Conference. The theme of the conference this year is Green Finance and Islamic Finance Challenges. Our meeting today will consist of welcome speeches, keynote speeches, and 4 sessions in total. To make his speech, we are inviting our Rector, Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu, to the stage, please.
Thank you. Dear distinguished guests, welcome to the Foundation of Islamic Finance Conference, organized by Sanva University, Üniversitesi'nde Indonesia, University, and Istanbul Commerce University. As Istanbul Commerce University, we are happy to be a part of such an important event. I hope that the 12th of this conference series, which has now been becoming a tradition, will yield very beneficial results to all. As a university, we are aware of the importance of Islamic finance. We are among the organizers of this conference. Also, last year, inshallah, we would like to be a part of this organization for the coming years. I would like to give some information about our university, by the way. We have more than 10,000 students, and 1,200 of them are from several countries. And 3,000 of our students are on graduate level. And as a university, we are a foundation university which has been set by Istanbul Chamber of Commerce. And we have several departments on management, entrepreneurship, economy, and business administration. Because of that, we established by the Istanbul Chamber of Commerce. Also, we have some other programs such as law, communication, and engineering. We also really very strive to contribute to Islamic finance field with our Islamic economics and economic systems application and research center. Necdet Bey is the manager of this important center. We have 16 research centers at our university. The world's economies are growing very rapidly, and there are so many problems on the economy. We can see this. Inside and outside, there are several surprises on the economic field. Average income per capita is constantly increasing. In some part of the world, it is decreasing. Income inequality doesn't fit. The equality problem is still going on in all over the world. And unfortunately, people cannot feel themselves comfortable, happy, and many times they lose their hopes. Several economic systems experienced at the world. We saw Marxist economic model, and later capitalist economic model, and people are looking for some other choices and some other alternatives, of course. It should be said that the world needs a new understanding, new approach on economy, and this system should take its power from the values and humanistic values of the people, and it must be based on the human nature, of course. It must be natural, and it must fit on the human nature. Islamic finance can be considered as one of the models that will bring the happiness to the people and equality to the people. Of course, this can be considered as an alternative, but there must be so much investment on this field to be taking this model up. that means we must work, we must study on this field so much. The economic views of Islamic scholars were included in several books they wrote on jurisprudence and morals. We are glad to see that Islamic finance has become an independent discipline in the world where the economy has grown and developed so much. While there were only a handful of works written in this field until 20 years ago or 30 years ago, the opening of undergraduate and graduate departments on Islamic finance in the universities and the establishment of independent research centers that they study Islamic finance within the universities are pleasing developments. I would like to emphasize that Istanbul Commerce University, one of the universities of these universities working on Islamic economics and Islamic banking or other fields. I hope that our conference, which is held for the 12th time by today, will be an occasion for Islamic finance to become the mainstream, one of the mainstream, of course, economic system around the world. I would like to express that this year's theme of the conference was chosen wisely, and the issue of green finance and Islamic finance challenge is important for solving the problems of the field. As a university, our contributions to the field of Islamic finance will continue as it has been up to now. Also, this is a very sad day for us. I would like to share my deep condolences to all our members. We lost yesterday, Professor Dr. Yusuf Tuna. He was one of our scholars who was studying and working on this field, and we are really very sad for this. May Allah reward him. And I would like to share my sorrow with you. And I would like to share I would like to thank to Mr. Professor Dr. Necdet Şensoy, who organized this meeting here. And I would like to share my thanks with Muhammad Arif, Professor Dr. Said, Professor Dr. Muhammad Arif, and all the chairs on this occasion. Thank you very much for your patience.
We thank Honorable Rector for his speech. Now, we invite the Professor Dr. Necdet Şensoy to the stage for his speech. He is the Director of the Research Center for Islamic Economics and Economic Systems. Please. Burada hocam.
Buradan şöyle kontrol ediyorum değil mi? Şundan. Tamam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear Rector, Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu, dear Conference Chair, Professor Dr. Muhammad Arif Said Muhammad, our Dean of Business Faculty, Professor Dr. Ömer Torlak, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Salam and greetings in an Istanbul event, in an Istanbul morning. Good morning. This year, 12th Foundation of Islamic Finance Conference is being hosted by our Istanbul Commerce University and Istanbul Sebahattin Zaim University. Will be face-to-face today and tomorrow. 5 universities from different parts of the world makes this event collectively. Those are Sunway University from Malaysia, La Trobe University from Indonesia, La Trobe university from Australia, Universitas in Indonesia from Indonesia, Istanbul Commerce University, our university, and Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University. We prepared this event collectively. Actually, this conference had two parts. Last week, in 1st and 2nd of October, it has been held online. It was very successful online, and around 30 papers are presented, and some papers are chosen as best paper. Best paper awards given to 4 papers. CFA best paper for applied market analysis to 2 papers. Emerald gave certificates of excellence to 6 papers. You see, Emerald Publishing and Certified Financial Analyst Society of Malaysia are sponsoring our event. Let me introduce also the theme of the conference. There are chair and co-chairs of the conference. Our conference chair is Mohammed Arif. He will address to you today. He is with us. He works at Sunway University in Malaysia, originally from Singapore. Also, there are co-chairs from each and every participating university. You see the names. From La Trobe University, Australia, Professor Ishak Bhatti. From Sabahattin Zaim University, Professor Mehmet Bulut. From Universitas Indonesia, Dr. Teguh Dartana, myself, and from CFA Society Malaysia, Ms. Chow, and from Emerald Publishing, Mr. William Law. And you see the names of the program committee members. We thank to them one by one. Also, I should thank to our team in our university. We make this event as Istanbul Commerce University Research Center for Islamic Economics and Economic Systems, and we have a student assistant, Hayrin Nisa. She is helping us. Also, we have Çağrı from the research center. Also, corporate communication department of the university helped us a lot. Miss Ayşenur and Büşra helped us. The team is all hardworking on this, and I should thank all of them. As our rector mentioned, today we are in a sad day. We lost our dear colleague, Professor Dr. Yusuf Tuna, and today, after Zuhur prayer, there is a funeral ceremony, and most probably our rector will leave to be there. Also, I would like to be there, but I cannot leave. Maybe our dean, Professor Ömer Torlak, will go to funeral, but I will not be able to go. Briefly, I wish to give some information about our research center. Islamic Economics and Economic System Application and Research Center is one of the 16 or 16 research center in our university. What we do, we, in this research center, we offer a university elective course. It is very interesting. It is now very popular. What we teach in this course, you see in 14th week, responsible finance, sustainability, and sensitivity to the environment is our subject. Then it is today's theme of the conference. You see, from Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Engineering in Turkish and English, Faculty of Architecture and Design, Faculty of Business, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, all students, you see the numbers, have chosen our course, and it is very popular. We offer this course 2 semesters in Turkish, 1 semester, spring semester, in English. Therefore, in our Faculty of Engineering, there is English, medium of instruction English department, and also in our business faculty, we have economics and business departments offering lectures in English. Also, in postgraduate courses, we have accounting and auditing master's degree program, participation, finance, and accounting standards. This is elective course in Turkish. Before I end my welcoming address, maybe it is a little long, I should refer to my lectures in our course. We say that the understanding of custody, emane concept is very important in Islamic economics. Emane, or custody, should be internalized. The universe is granted to the custody of human being. That's why with Professor Arif, we have chosen this as the theme of the conference. Sustainability is very top topic in last maybe 10 years, the last decade. And we see many conferences, many publications on sustainability. In our country, there is Turkish Industrial Development Bank, which works very hard on sustainability and supports sustainable and green finance in Turkey. That's why we invited an expert from Turkish Industrial Development Bank. She will give us a keynote speech. And also our presidency established a finance office. Turkish presidency has a finance office, and under finance office of the presidency, we have participation finance department. Head of the participation finance department, Tarık Bey, is with us, and also we will listen to him. With this, let me end my welcoming speech. Welcome all from overseas. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you will enjoy in Istanbul. Prof. Arif likes Istanbul. Yesterday, with his wife, they visited Ayasofya, but he is not happy with the traffic, high traffic. Okay, now we will pass the next session. Thank you for your patience.
We thank Professor Necdet Şensoy to his speech. Now we invite Professor Muhammad Arif Said. He is the conference chair from Sunway University, Malaysia. Please come to stage for your speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'd like to welcome all of you. That's the purpose of today's meeting here. Much of the things I wanted to say, Prof. Sensoy has already mentioned, so I'm going to cut my speech to a short, maybe 10 minutes at the most. I want to take you, before that, let me welcome our Rector, Professor Oğurlu. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Oğurlu. And Madam Aisha, I would call it Aisha, and of course Dr. Tariq from the President's Office. I learned from Tariq that he spent many years, 7 years in Malaysia. He considered Malaysia as his second home. I'm very glad to meet you. And of course, all the other guests and lecturers and visitors. Now, I want to take you back to 2005. 2005, of course, I was much younger. And I don't know, I was working, I worked in Australia for 21 years in the leading universities. And in 2005, I took the initiative when Islamic finance, I should call it participating finance, was becoming very popular. So I was already a secular economist, finance guy, having done my degrees in United States and Australia. I'm a Singapore boy. So I said to myself, why not, it's a sub-discipline of finance. It's a branch of finance. Finance is part of the economics. You have this thing called savings equal to investment. That's from the mother equation of economics. All of us know, most of us are trained in economics. You set the saving as the supply side, and demand comes from people who want to take the money and use it. So that's the birth of finance. And we didn't know that until 1958 when the founder of the discipline, Professor Markovich, wrote a PhD thesis while he was working in the AT&T Bell Laboratories on the 42nd Street of New York, where I visited for 3 months, and I worked there too in my younger days. So I told myself, since I'm a finance professor, I was a chair of finance, then we wanted to propagate this idea. And Australia was very keen. Australia, as you know, is a hub for good postgraduate studies, and there is the thing called Australian Research Council, which dishes out something like $40 billion in those days every year. Thank you. Every year to do research. So we applied for a fund. It's called the Industry Fund. So we got the Islamic Development Bank joining with us. And we also had a body in MCC, it's called. Actually, it's the leaders are all Turkish gentlemen, businessmen in Melbourne. It's an association. And they were giving what we call Sharia-consistent loans and Qardul Hasan, charity loan, and that the Catholic Church introduced 1,000 years ago. So that was the opportunity. So both the Christian group, represented by Constant Muse, he was working as an associate professor in the School of Theology, and myself and another banking professor, Michael Scully, we got $600,000 grant. And that's the beginning of this FIFC. In the grant document, I was supposed to deliver authentic Islamic finance or participative finance literature. That was a brief for 600,000. So I took this as the beginning, and now we are here in Istanbul in 2022. And the last 3 years, we didn't have any face-to-face meeting. Today, thanks to our good friend Sensoy, we have become very good friends. And thanks to the rector permitting this university to participate, and of course, Professor Bulut also, we brought it, and we are testing the waters for face-to-face. Now, we have done this conference 11 times before, actually 12 times, including the inaugural conference. You know, so these 14 meetings we had has given us simply 2 outputs. We have produced 10 books on Islamic finance. They are all shown in the call for paper, 10 books. And we also have produced 42 journal articles which won the best prizes. Some of them did not get through, but 42 of them got through, so it's in the mainstream journal. So that's all I have delivered. Nothing big deal, a small drop in the body of knowledge, and that's what we want to do going forward. So that's a history, and that's why I'm here to declare the 12th FIC as the conference today with you all here, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are interested in this. The second job I'm going to do tomorrow, after 12 to 13 years of hard work, many groups are doing this all over the world, but this is the only group, FIFC, that doesn't take any money from anybody. It's a self-help organization. We want to be authentic. We don't want to go and ask for money. If you ask for money, they put their agenda into the conference. So inshallah, I have succeeded for 13 years. And now, tomorrow at the Zaim University, we are launching an academic association. It's going to be named Society for Responsible Finance. The constitution is already approved. There is a Proton committee, and this Proton committee has authorized me to launch it in Istanbul. It's going to be the launching pad for the academic association. Every discipline have their own academic association, so that's what I'm doing. Now, I did the same for Asian scholars in finance. In 1989, we founded the Asian Finance Association, where after about 17 years, I built 2 journals, and the society is still, and that's anybody who publishes in the 2 journals get tenured in Asia. So that's the service that I think all scholars want to do. So the service, we and FIFC, including all of you, we are doing the service to establish Istanbul as a launching pad for this conference. So wish me luck on that count. Last but not least, I want to thank the Rector for permitting this university to be the base for today's and tomorrow's conference. We move to Zaim University. Thank you very much for that. And also I want to thank NECDEC and Prof. Bulut. Both of them worked hard since November last year in order for us to have this conference. It has been a lot of hard work behind the scene. We had 2 days conference, as mentioned by Professor NECDEC, successful conference. We had 42 papers presented and 2 keynote speeches that was broadcast around the world. We had about 2,400 hours of contact with some people logging into the system. So that's already gone. Out of that will come 1 book and the prizes and journal article. I'd like to thank all the committee members led by Professor Sensoy and Hairunisa here and Dr. Ozan in Zaim University, and I want to thank them personally. And finally, special thanks to Hairunisa. She was a liaison person. She did a lot of work behind the scene, and I like to have it recorded. So let me welcome all of you, and I'm sure the rest of the day will be useful for us to learn a few things. Walaikum salam.
We thank Professor Muhammad Said, and we invite Professor Dr. Yücel Oğurlu to give his certificate appreciation. Thank you. Now we have keynote speeches. We invite Professor Dr. Necdet Şensoy to chair the session. And we also invite Ayşe Nazlıca to stage for her speech. She is the Sustainable Coordinator of Turkish Industrial Development Bank. Please come to stage. And Dr. Tarık Akın, he is the head of the Department of Participation Finance in Finance Office of Presidency of the Republic of Turkey.
As I have mentioned in my welcoming address, now we have two keynote speeches from valuable, distinguished experts on this subject. As I have mentioned, Turkish Industrial Development Bank is supporting sustainability and green finance a lot. Therefore, we wished to have an expert from Turkish Industrial Development Bank, and her kindness, Ayşe Hanım, accepted our invitation. Today we will listen to her. Let me introduce, since ladies first, I am starting with Ayşe Hanım. And then I will give the floor to Dr. Tarık. Actually, Ayşe Hanım, Mrs. Ayşe Nazlıca is engineer by undergraduate education. After engineering in physics, she had management study in famous Istanbul University Faculty of Business. It is very famous and established faculty. Then it is very good background in engineering plus management. And as I see, after his graduation, she entered to Turkish Industrial Development Bank, and she worked in many levels, in many positions there. She entered to the bank in 1995, isn't it?
Yes.
And then promoted to the position of head of budget and planning department in 2008, and then the role of financial institutions and investor relations department between 2019 and 2021. Now, currently, she is sustainability coordinator of Turkish Industrial Development Bank since 1st of July 2021. Without further delay, let me invite Mrs. Ayşe Nazlıca to make her keynote speech, please.
Thank you so much.
You can pass if you like.
Okay. Hello. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this distinguished conference. Thank you to the rector and professors also for having me to be able to share my bank's background in sustainability and the achievements also. I would like to start with a TSKB at a glance slide. TSKB, Industrial Development Bank of Turkey, is founded in 1950 with the initiation of World Bank, with the Marshall Plan after World War II, and also with the contribution of Central Bank of Turkey. It is a development bank, but it's a privately owned development bank, so it's one of its kind. We support the Turkish economic growth since our foundation. We also have a sustainability focus, as Professor Necdet told us, since the very early stage of our establishment. Our mission is to focus on creating value for this inclusive and sustainable development of the country. We do this through the financing and also consultancy solutions. We empowered by our experience in development and investment banking. We have a great importance to collaboration. We collaborate with initiatives, with academics, with the regulators, and also the development finance institutions all over the world, and also international financial institutions. We have sustainable relations with our stakeholders, as I mentioned. Since our foundation, we have good relations with development finance institutions, ministries of Treasury and Finance, which grant us a funding guarantee, and DFI missions and policymakers. A strong technical team is supporting our businesses, including economic research, engineers, and financial analysts. And we have a multidisciplinary assessment of credit risk assessment. In recent years, we also included ESG practices. Sustainability is well integrated in our business model, as I mentioned. We do support the transition to low carbon economy. We support the employment of encouraging women participation in the economy, providing financing to operational health and safety, and also support the less developed regions of the country. We do finance in favor of reducing the energy dependency in Turkey. We do finance renewable energy projects, energy and resource efficiency investments, and also we provide some social, support to the public. We do sustainability reporting and some other studies as well. I will mention in a few minutes. I would like to talk about the sustainability governance system of the bank. Actually, it's another organization of the bank, and intact with the organizational structure of the bank. We have a sustainability committee at the board level. This was established in 2014 and consists of 4 board of director members and 2 executive vice presidents and CEO, of course. And under this committee, we have a subcommittee, management committee, and it conducts all the sustainability-related works and studies and operations of the bank. And we have working groups under this management committee. And the pillars are strategy, corporate governance, environment and climate, and social impact and inclusion. Almost 20% of the bank's staff is working in these working groups. It's a very synergetic and very agile type of working organization, we believe. And I do the coordination of all these governance system. And external engagement, as already told you, it's very important for us. We cooperate with all these initiatives, mission clubs, NGOs, regulatory bodies, and of course, we do give the very high importance to the development of our clients and society. The balance sheet structure I would like to mention very briefly. As a development bank, we do not collect deposits, but we do fund ourselves through the long-term funding base. And we, as you can see, almost 57% of our funding comes from development finance institutions with the guarantee of Turkish Treasury and Ministry of Finance. 10% from, again, DFI funding without guarantee. And we also have some securities issued and short-term syndication facility. And 80% of our total funding is environmental, social, and governance-aligned funding. This means we actually channel this funding to the economy, to our customers for their ESG investments, for the sustainability-themed investments and operations. You see the breakdown of our funding base. The major component comes from World Bank, followed by European Investment Bank. We recently started to work with Asian Investment and Infrastructure Bank, KfW from Germany, CDB from China, Islamic Development Bank, AFD, and JBIC from Japan, and etc. So many countries we are working with a very long-term relationship. These are the milestones. We started with World Bank. I will not go through all the milestones, but you can see that in each decade we build up a relationship with a supranational or multinational entity. And these actually institutions are very happy to work with us because of our expertise and long-term dedication to Turkish economy and for the development of the country. You see the first green bond issuance I will be talking about in a minute. TSKB's first green bond issuance was on 2016 and the second one in 2017. Last year we did the third one in 2021 when we matured our paid back our first green bond. Just a brief lending portfolio details. We actually financed the electricity generation for the last 15 years. And this is with the majority of renewable energy projects. And we are proud of this performance. I mean, we were the first, one of the first and leading banks which started to finance the greenfield electricity generation projects in renewable energy, including hydropower plants, wind power plants, solar ones, and biomass and geothermal projects as well. We have approximately $5 billion of total lending book, but we financed almost 15% of the total capacity, installed capacity of renewable energy in Turkey. So this is a very important, I think, contribution. And we also map our loans to sustainable development goals, and we come up with almost 93% is linked to sustainable development goals. We touched to 13 of them, but the majority is coming from 7 of these SDGs. You see that the average maturity of the book, of the lending book, is more than 5 years, with a majority of investment loans. And what we do in focus in today, we give a high importance to circular economy, transition to low carbon economy, and inclusiveness. These are the themes of the book, which will shape the future. We think that the energy and resource efficiency is the key topic in our country's net zero roadmap, because we need to reduce the emission, the carbon emission of our facilities. So we give a high importance to this topic in many sectors, including iron and steel, cement, aluminium, and etc. And renewable energy, of course, and also the social infrastructure in health and education and clean transportation is in the top of our agenda as well. This is actually the journey. I will not go through every detail, but we started this sustainability type of banking in 1990s. We first environmental loans was granted in 1990s, and in 2005 we structured our environmental and management system, and we included environmental risk evaluation tool on our credit appraisal. And we then became the first neutral bank for our operational emissions in 2008. And we started to actually report our impacts and risks and our projections in 2010 with our GRI-approved sustainability report and CDP report. In 2011, we established our sustainability consultancy company, Eskarus, with our technical team, the engineering team. And after that year, we also included a sustainability management system, which has the arm of social impact and social risk to our credit appraisal and evaluation and monitoring processes. And we built up the Sustainability Committee in 2014 and sustainability policy and complementary policies, which all form the governance structure. In 2016, as I told you, our first ever green bond was issued, and it was out of Turkey and CEMEA region. And we also published our declaration on climate change in that year. And in 2017, we also issued our first sustainable Tier 2 bond. This was the world's first sustainable Tier 2 bond. And we also had this first integrated reporting. In 2020, actually another first intermediation of world's first sustainable sukuk was held by TSKB. I will be talking about that issues also. It was very successful. And the first climate risk report in Turkish banking system was in line with TCFT recommendations, and we published it in 2021. What we do now, our pathway to net zero, in line with our environmental and social risk assessment, we also included climate risk evaluation too. It was developed in-house, and we do quantify the physical and transition risks and integrated this to our credit evaluation and credit selection process. And we started to include the financed emissions into our emission calculation. And we do, right now, we are at the beginning of our science-based target initiative verification process. This is a very important step for us because we have some carbon-intensive sector exposures. Very small amount of non-renewable power generation, but we have some financing of cement and iron steel sectors, which represents the 70% of our financed emissions. And we do have some targets. We want to actually lower the emission actually figures of these financed emissions. Well, how we do this? Actually, for the coal facilities, our policy is to reduce our exposure. We do not want to finance new coal actually facilities. And for the other sectors, we will not actually phase out from these sectors, but we will finance the transition actually investments of these sectors, and we want them to operate with a low emission structure. So we will finance the extra capacity needed for the reduction of their emissions. And we will be one of the members of UN, United Nations Net Zero Banking Alliance. And we will be targeting for 2030 and 2050 the net zero targets. And you see that we have this SDG loan model as well, and the performance of the companies in the social, economic and environment areas is evaluated. We do determine an action plan with them, and also with the help of our consultancy company. And we do finance these plans and investments, and we provide them some knowledge. We want all our customers to actually hire their capacity. We help them to capacity building. And we offer some financing cost reduction if they achieve these sustainability-related targets. So the financing targets are all linked to sustainability, and the ratio of climate and environment-focused SDG-linked loans is very important. This figure is almost 62% at the moment. So this basically gives us the picture of having a majority of green loans in our portfolio. And we have some emission targets of our bank as well. Actually, it's a small premises. I mean, we work with around 350 or 400 people. So our emissions are not that high, but this is a modeling. I mean, if we start doing some achievements with some plans, because this is a long-term journey, and we encourage our stakeholders to go in line with their plans, to achieve some, goals with maybe small actions, but it will definitely be a very important element of the society's overall goals. So I will just skip to Zorlu Enerji Green Sukuk issuance. And it was in 2020, and it was a very successful, structure, I believe. Actually, when you look at the steps, it's almost very similar to a conventional sukuk steps, but the fourth one, the sustainability framework is the key step of this structure. The relevant part of the activities is managed in the favor of ALC, and the investments are made within the framework of sustainability with export revenues. So what we do, we have 4 pillars, and these are written in the use of export proceeds: clean transportation, renewable energy, sustainability energy supply, and sustainability infrastructure. And I would like to give some details of these topics. What do we mean by clean transportation? These are the investments to be made for the use of electric vehicles in Turkey. And the eligible investments are the charging stations, infrastructure investments, adaptation to the network, convenience to users, all kinds of technology investments. And renewable energy, since it's an energy company, also it is in line with the use of proceeds. The renewable energy investments produce energy with natural resources and contribute to CO2 reduction. Capacity increase investments in existing facilities. For example, the solar top panels are very popular at the moment. Most of the factories, they include also a solar system on their top of the premises or factories, and they generate internal electricity from those solar panels. And sustainable energy demand, these are the investments to contribute the supply of primary energy supply of our country, which is dependent on imports in energy consumption with domestic resources. And these are the capacity increase investments in existing facilities, and also efficiency improvement and rehabilitation investments. And sustainable infrastructure, there are 2 divisions. One is the electricity distribution lines. We do the renewable, the company does the renewable of the distribution lines if they have this in their business lines. And eligible investments are network renewable and capacity increase investments, and city lighting, meter investments, and technology. And also the natural gas distribution lines, station investments, SCADA and automation investments, map and geographic information system investments. And what are the criteria within this framework? Actually, what are the key performance indicators that actually company should be aware of? These are the data. The data are very important. Actually, for each topic, here are the examples of some key performance indicators. What we do look at the number of new charging stations, data of regions where charging stations are provided, number of vehicles served by charging stations for these electrical automotives and other transporters. For the renewable energy, we look at the energy produced. We do look at the prevention of CO2 emissions. And sustainable energy demand, we do look at the benefits of the investment to the country in line with our government's topics and targets, and with our middle-term economic plan also. We energy produced. And sustainable infrastructure, we look at the number of subscribers and subscriber type distribution, households, industries, etc., and distribution of industry sectors served. I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening to me, and if you have any questions, I would like to be happy to answer.
Thank you. If you have any questions, comments on this subject, please raise your hand and, okay, Professor Arif, please. She will bring.
Yeah, good morning to all of you. I'd just like to thank you, Ayser, for a wonderful presentation of what Turkey is doing. I shouldn't say Turkey. Turkey is doing for sustainable development and the role in financing. One of the things the conference chairs are doing is to come up with a book on sustainable development. Your speech and also Dr. Tariq's speech is about sustainability. So this will be converted into a chapter. We will work with you so that the book will be published by Routledge. We are aiming for that in London. Every one of the conference will produce a book on the theme. We already have about 11 papers on sustainability, green finance. So I'll be happy to invite you to work with us to have that contribution in the book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
It would be my honor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Arif. The tradition of this conference, these conference series, is that from the presentations in the conferences, Prof. Arif is publishing books. Those presentations are being chapter of those books, and now he offers to Mrs. Ayşe Nazlıca to put her, of course, developing it a lot. The chapter of a book will be published out of this 12th FIFC conference. Another question or comment from the floor? Okay, thank you, dear Ayşe, for your participation and having you here. Actually, we appreciate the activities of Türkiye Sanayi Kalkınma Bankası in Turkish, TSKB. Please, for our guests, visit the website of Turkish Industrial Development Bank. You will find a lot of information about Turkish industry, and sustainability activities in Turkey. And we are proud today to have her with us. Also, I missed in my welcoming speech, also we have Professor Münevver Turanlı, also my lecturer in my student time. She is head of the statistical department. Thank you, Professor, to come here and to be with us. Okay, now we have second theme, the keynote speech will be given by Dr. Tarık Akın. Welcome, Tarık. He is graduate of Bilkent University. He had his undergraduate in Bilkent University, Department of Economics.
Yes.
Yes, Department of Economics, and then he went to United States. He got his MBA at Harvard University, and he got his PhD from INSAFE. Let me introduce INSAFE, International Center for Islamic Finance. This is like a university. They call them university, but it is corporate university, something like that, established by Central Bank of Malaysia. INSAFE established, Central Bank of Malaysia established INSAFE to offer postgraduate studies. And he got his PhD from INSAFE. The topic of his thesis was like this: wealth inequality and risk-sharing finance. After his educational progress, he joined the Undersecretariat of Treasury. It is a famous governmental body in Turkey. Also, he worked for IFSB. You know, it is an infrastructure organization in Islamic finance. Islamic Financial Services Board, which make standards, regulatory standards for Islamic finance. Have you worked there in IFSB?
Yes.
Okay. How long?
1 year.
1 year, okay. It's a good experience. Also, he worked for World Bank, UNDP, and sometime he worked for a private company in Qatar. And he has connection with Center for Industrial Development.
Center for International Development.
Center for what is it?
International. It's an institute at Harvard University.
At Harvard.
Also there.
Okay, okay. It is in Harvard University. Okay, okay. Thank you for your coming. Now the floor is yours. Please, you can, if you like, you can go to.
Thank you, Professor. Let me first check the clicker. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear Rector of İstanbul Ticaret University, dear Chair of CFA Institute Malaysia, dear Dean of Faculty of Business, and dear Professor Ayşe, distinguished guests. It's a pleasure to be here, and inshallah in my presentation within half an hour I will try to give some points from our newly launched participation finance strategy document with a focus on sustainability, since we give special importance to sustainability in our strategy document. It was last Monday, 4th of October, we launched the strategy document under the auspices of the President of Turkey, His Excellency Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. And we think it is a turning point for participation finance in Turkey, because the strategy document suggests, offers, discusses many new institutions, a structural transformation in the participation financial institutions. I will explain what I mean by the term participation financial institutions. It also have concrete action plans till 2025, because this strategy document covers the period 2022 to 2025. Inshallah, I will try to share all of these context and summary of this context within half an hour. It's a big document, voluminous one, more than 330 pages. It covers many things, so it is sometimes difficult to cover all of the things within the given time, but the focus will be mostly on sustainability and green finance after explaining some of the details of the strategy document. Why do we need a holistic, novel strategy document for participation finance? From the inauguration of special finance houses, so-called special finance houses in 1984 in Turkey, participation financial system, participation banking, interest-free institutions have progressed a lot. And now they come to a turning point, we believe. We think that the development of participation finance in Turkey since 1984 can be decomposed into three main stages. The first one is called enrooting in the system. When the special finance houses was established in 1984, they were regulated mostly by communiques. They didn't take any part in any law in Turkey. And their share in the banking system was around only 1%. And the year 1999 was an important turning point for the participation financial sector, because they were taken under the banking law. And after that, they were called as participation banks. A new stage started, and we call this stage as prudential development. It was a development stage, but was mostly prudential. 2014 was another important date for the participation financial system in Turkey, because in the public documents, in strategy documents, and other documents related to economy, participation banks started to take place. And since 2021, we call this stage as strategic development stage. Now, we think the participation finance needs to have a kind of holistic transformation to go to another stage, to be more competitive in the world system. And the strategy document covers that period from this year to 2025. It took a long time to prepare this document. And we have some stages I do want to share with you, the preparation stages of the participation finance strategy document. First, we had a thorough and detailed literature review. We look at other strategy documents of other countries, and we extracted some lessons, important lessons. Let me mention some of them. Most of the successful countries in the world established centralized Sharia boards. They gave much importance to establishing well-known and renowned institutions, educational entities, like INSAFE, as you mentioned. They also assigned coordination units, coordination entities in the government. That is why the Department of Participation Finance was established last year. Given from the lessons we learned from other countries and also from best practices, we also prepared so-called stakeholder recommendation form. It was around 25 pages, and we sent to more than 80 institutions and more than 70 experts in this area to get their recommendations, insights, and additions on how to prepare a strategy document. Also, we established working groups. I will mention about these areas on which we established the working groups. There were 8 working groups, and we had more than 45 members in these working groups, and Prof. Necdet was also one of the members of the working groups. And it lasted more than 6 weeks to complete all of these working group meetings, because we had weekly meetings with each of these working groups. Also, we had background papers on 3 topics that we consider important. We asked several experts to write background papers. Also, the background papers were used in the strategy document, especially under the thematic areas section, and I will come to that point. I will explain. Also, and then with all of the knowledge base we had from all of these stages, we started writing the document. Also, we added our insights, and alhamdulillah, last week we launched the strategy document. Shortly, I want to mention about the, sorry for the format. I'd like to mention about the vision, mission, and value proposition of the strategy document, because it will be the starting point for the subsequent slides I will show you. The vision is to effectuate a financial model that is exemplary role in the world and effectively supporting the Turkey economy model. This is the vision of the strategy document, not the vision of the participation financial sector per se. Okay? The mission is to implement an inclusive, sustainable, and innovative participation financial system, which fully, these 2 terms are important. They are the base foundation of our strategy document, which fully complies with the tenets of participation finance and operates in line with the purpose-oriented principles. I will explain. So, we also try to develop a value proposition. The value proposition gives some keywords which shows how an entity, a company, an organization can operate uniquely compared to its competitors. So, our plan is to give or insert these keywords to the minds of the society. When someone asks about the meaning of participation finance, what do you understand from participation finance, for instance, we expect the society should give these keywords. This is also very important for perception, awareness, and financial literacy of the participation financial system. The keywords are moral values. Okay, I will read from here. Sorry, it is all mixed here. The participation financial system is centered on moral values, prioritize social justice, second one, supports value creation, and exerts a positive social impact, which is directly relevant to sustainability. So, let's start with the concept of participation finance. Why do we call the system as participation finance? In the past, even up to now, the system is called as interest-free financial system. But we think that it is constraining the scope of the role or the mandate of participation finance. Avoidance of interest is a necessary but not a sufficient condition. I mean, in Islamic finance, as per the rules of Islam in economic and financial issues, avoidance of interest is maybe the most important item. But we also have avoidance from garar, ban on kumar, not dealing with prohibited transactions. So interest is the most important part, but is just one of the pillars. So we need also other pillars. Also, interest-free finance results in a perception of no-return finance. When you say it is interest-free, people or society understand this, it has no yields. No. If it is implemented in line with its ideals, if it can be linked to the real sector, I think its rate of returns, its yields are much more higher than what is offered by the conventional financial system. So interest-free finance is a kind of restricted term to us. So we decided to call the system as participation finance instead of just calling it as interest-free financial system. Given this explanation, participation finance can be defined, and it is an umbrella term indeed, covering all sectors that operate in compliance with the tenets of participation finance. I will explain. This is one of the core terms in the strategy document, including the interest-free principle, as well as the products, services, and transactions offered by these sectors. So it is not just restricted to banking. Now it is covering all of the sectors which are in fully compliant with so-called tenets of participation finance. Okay, what is the tenets of participation finance then? The tenets of participation finance simply draw the boundaries of the system. If a product, a sector, a goods and services, whatever, it is in compliance with the tenets of participation finance, then it is within the boundary of participation finance. Within the circle, I mean. If it is not, it is outside of the circle. It is based on Islamic law. Of course, this is just a suggestion in the strategy document. The details and scope of the tenets of participation finance, we explicitly say in the participation finance strategy document that should be determined by a board. Let's say a centralized Sharia board in Turkey. They should determine the details. We are just giving the concept here in strategy document. But we know in the world, in also other jurisdictions, there are some commonly accepted rules that can be counted with, under the umbrella of tenets of participation finance, such as prohibition of interest, absence of qarar and jahala, absence of gambling, earning based on the risk and responsibility, and not dealing with prohibited activities. They are mostly commonly accepted rules which define usually the boundaries of Islamic finance in the world. So it is more expanded than just being prohibition of interest. Also, we have a second we have a second concept called purpose-oriented principles. What do we mean by purpose-oriented principles? As I told you, the tenets of participation finance is the red line of participation financial system. Either you are within or outside of the circle. But within the circle, there are different areas. You know, a product can be interest-free, but may not be in line with the, you know, some social expectations or doing some things, you know, in a better way. There are some products that are Sharia compliant, but that are not accepted by many boards, Sharia boards in the world. I don't want to mention these products you all already know. So the purpose-oriented principles, of course, they are not complementary, they are complementary but not compulsory principles. They complement the tenets of participation finance. They do not draw the boundaries. They start working once a product, sector, a service goes into the circle of tenets of participation finance. The tenets of participation finance mostly deal with legal aspect. In the end of the day, it is within the scope of Islamic jurisprudence. But the purpose-oriented principles focus on outcomes and consequences. Of course, like the tenets of participation finance, they should be discussed and refined by Sharia scholars and experts from various fields. And the purpose-oriented principles aim at coming up with positive social and economic benefits. And they should be considered, it is important, I think, they should be considered in the formulation of strategies, practices, and FIFC decisions. Let me give you an example. Risk sharing. Everyone is talking about risk sharing in Islamic finance. For us, risk sharing is not one of the tenets of participation finance, not. However, we think it is one of the, because, let me explain, because there are products, services, which are not considered as risk-sharing instruments, but still in the Islamic financial system, because Islamic financial system covers all aspects, all sides of life. So the financial needs are not solely, you know, consist of risk-sharing based instruments. But it is important. So risk-sharing, the concept of risk-sharing is one of the most important ingredients of the purpose-oriented principles. Another one is sustainability, because there is a purpose there. The strategy document is focusing on these two concepts. Due to time restriction, just I am give the summary of these concepts, but inshallah you will find more details in our strategy document, which is already published in our or launched in our website. Now, before I told you, is the participation finance is not just focusing on participation banking. Now, it encompasses all of the sectors which are in compliance with the tenets of participation finance. There are four main sectors under the umbrella term of participation finance. One is participation financing institutions, which is covering institutions dealing with financing. finance and financing are different concepts, though they are quite similar to each other. The second sector is participation capital markets. The third one is participation insurance. And the fourth one is participation social finance. Now, social finance instruments like Kazel Hasan, Zakah, even macrofinance we think, should play an important role in participation financial system. Why are we dealing with participation finance? What is the reason for it? The current perception on participation finance is that it's a tool for financial inclusion. Yani, you want to extract under the pillow savings of households, so you need to come up with some solutions. You need to develop some tools. But the main goal is to extract these savings which are out of the financial system. Yani you want to insert out of the financial system savings into the formal financial system. This is the end of the story up to now. This was the end of the story up to now. No. The participation finance strategy document highlights that participation finance can play a key role in having the Turkey economy model reach its goals with the support of basic principles of participation finance, such as risk sharing and being asset-basedness. Now, participation finance, we think, should take a much greater role in the development of financial system of Turkey and reaching out the development goals of Turkey. There are four main areas that we think the participation financial system can directly contribute to the development of Turkey. Of course, there are many others contribution areas. I just want to mention about these four main areas. One is reducing the market share of credit-based financing. The financial system, the financial infrastructure in Turkey is mostly banking dominant. So there should be given a much more role to capital markets and to other alternative financial instruments, including participation finance. Transitioning to public finance based on risk sharing. We think there is an ample room, large room, for participation finance play an important role in public finance. For instance, securitization of infrastructure projects, development projects, and risk sharing can contribute a lot to the development of public finance in Turkey. Also, of course, for instance, securitization of infrastructure projects are revenue-generating projects. They are relatively easy to implement under participation or Islamic finance. However, there are also areas such as impact investing, which is directly relevant to sustainability. Many public projects which are not generating revenue can be financed through impact investing. Also, we devoted a part to impact investing in our strategy document. We give a special role to, or special importance to participation finance in public, impact investing in financing public finance. The third area is increasing private sector savings. By private sector savings, we mean household savings as well as real sector savings. There are many tools, instruments that can play an important role in increasing private savings through participation finance. The last main contribution area is enhancing inclusive growth supported by social finance. Especially COVID-19 showed us access to liquidity, access to cash for SMEs is quite important. Qarz al-Hasan, for instance, should play an important role here. We also suggested in our strategy document that all of the associations should establish Qarz al-Hasan funds to help their members. There are also a role that can be played by waqfs, zakah, and other social finance areas in participation finance. We have 10 thematic areas in our strategy document. By thematic area, I mean there are some areas that we give special importance in our strategy document, or they are covering more than one sector, like fintech and sustainability. All of the sectors, banking, financing, capital markets, insurance, social finance, should deal with fintech. Or sustainability somehow is relevant to all of these sectors. So they are the topics or subjects of thematic areas in our strategy document. The first thematic area is participation financial holding company. This is a new proposal that we are suggesting in our strategy document, a novel, new type of participation financial institution. It can deal with financing, like a bank, but at the same time, it can be enter into risk-sharing business. It can directly delve into real sector business. It's a kind of neat type of holding company structure proposed in the strategy document. Second, we are suggesting a new international organization, a new Islamic megabank. There are also details of this new novel model. It's called IIILC, International Islamic Infrastructure and Liquidity Corporation. It will provide liquidity to the Islamic financial institutions, but at the same time, it will finance infrastructure projects in the OIC countries. So we developed the model and put it into the strategy document. And you can read it in the details of this new proposal. The third one, it is also relevant to sustainability, participation finance rating system. We suggest that there should be a rating system for the real sector as well as for the financial institutions. The fourth one is the International Participation Finance Arbitration Center. Arbitration is a very important need for the development of Islamic finance in countries. Another one is integration with halal value chain. Unfortunately, now halal economy is one side, participation finance is on other side, and they are not closely linked to each other. So there is a big potential here. Also participation finance from fintech perspective. And we explain how participation financial institutions can utilize fintech in their operations. There are some concrete recommendations. There are also concrete action items at the end of the strategy document. FIFC governance in participation finance, it's very important because FIFC governance or Sharia governance is the gist of participation or Islamic financial system. So it should be established in a very good way. Human capital, perception, awareness, and financial literacy, and sustainability. We devote a separate section to sustainability, covering green finance, impact investing, responsible finance in our strategy document. And we also have some concrete action items. Given this background knowledge, just shortly I want to mention about how we finalized our strategy document. There are key findings and recommendations section, and there are 7 subsections in the document, but we also considered global and national general framework. We call it as global and national general framework. This is the constraints of our action items. The 4th item, international developments, we also considered SDGs, Paris Convention, and sustainability-related agreements. We also stick to 4 key principles, and this is from these principles, from the global and national general framework, we wrote the strategy document. There are 5 goals, 18 objectives, and 84 action items in the strategy document. Just shortly, I will show you the strategic goals. One is realizing institutional transformation, and the items in bullets are the objectives. Second one is establishing supportive mechanisms. I already mentioned about these mechanisms under the thematic areas slide. The third one is establishing a holistic FIFC governance structure. The 4th one is ensuring the development of human capital. And the 5th one is improving perception, awareness, and participation, financial literacy. Coming from all of these 5 goals, 18 objectives, we have 84 action items. Okay, before finalizing my presentation, I just want to shortly mention about another key concept, the areas of focus in our strategy document. The areas of focus, so-called areas of focus in the participation finance strategy document, refers to products, services, and customer segments on which the participation financial sector should give more priority than others. But I should highlight here that the areas of focus do not aim to direct participation financial sector solely only to these areas. They are just priority areas that we believe as important areas of operation for the participation financial sectors. And there are 4 main areas of focus in the strategy document. One is areas of financing. Priority sectors and priority development areas included in policy documents such as 11th Development Plan and the Presidential Annual Program constitute financing pillars. The sectors, some selected sectors, are within the scope of areas of financing under the areas of focus. Client segments, new ventures, micro and small enterprises, and the bottom 50% of households by income or wealth are disadvantaged groups in terms of access to financing, and they constitute the client segment of the areas of focus. The third segment is product structure. Financial products based on risk sharing constitute the product structure pillar of the areas of focus. And the sustainability pillar or sustainability segment, this is a kind of binary, by the way, thing. Activities included in the framework of Turkey's green development goals to support sustainability constitute the sustainability pillar of the areas of focus. These are priority areas. I just want to highlight here that sustainability is one of the priority areas as per the participation finance strategy document. And you can access the PDF version. For this week, only Turkish version is available. But from next week on, inshallah, from even early next week on, inshallah, the English version will be ready. www.cbfo.gov.tr. When you go to this website, you will find the Turkish version of the strategy document. Thank you for listening. This is the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Tarık Akın. I didn't intervene, but we are a lot having delay. We are behind the schedule. Actually, I appreciate your coming because Tarık's son is in hospital. He is ill, although in these difficult times, he came and spared his time for us. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Therefore, we don't have any time to questions and comments. Immediately, we should give a brief coffee break. According to the program, it is 10 minutes. Hayrun Nisa?
Yes, but before that, we want to give them their certificates.
Huh?
We want to give
we
them
will
their
give
certificates.
certificates, and then
After that, 10
we
minutes
will
break.
give coffee break. Also, I should thank to our Vice Rector, Professor Elçin Aykan Alp, Elçin Aykaç Alp. She will chair the next session. She is waiting for us, allocated her time. Thank you very much. Now we will give the certificates.
Yes. Hocam. Fotoğraf için.
Ayşe Hanım, çok teşekkür ediyoruz.
Ben teşekkür ediyorum. Benim için çok
Bizim için de onur oldu size. Fotoğrafçımız nerede?
Tamamdır hocam. Şu an kendisi nerede bilmiyorum.
Hani?
Hocam video alınıyor zaten.
Peki.
Videoyu alabilirsiniz. Tamamdır.
çok teşekkür ederim.
Çok
Çok
teşekkür
mersi,
ederim.
sağ olun.
Sağ olun.
Çok teşekkürler.
Tarık Bey, çok
Biraz
teşekkür
onur
ediyorum size zaman ayırdığınız için. Oğlunuza da şifalar diliyoruz.
We have 10 minutes break.